Hello, and welcome to today's session on ArcGIS for Teams. I'm Andrew Stauffer, Product Manager for the Microsoft Integration Suite of products here at Esri. Now, to get started, one of the things that we want to talk about with ArcGIS for Teams is that when looking at this integration, one of the things that we understand at a foundational level here is that Teams is about communication and working together. It's where our sharing happens. Everything from what happened on the weekend to how do we get this project finished to the next staff meeting and stand up to go around and talk about what's getting built today, tomorrow, and beyond. Now, ArcGIS adds context to this conversation with applications and maps. So there may be times where within the organization you have a question, I've seen that on a particular application, let me bring it up, and I can search for it right then and there. Or maybe I want to send a map to a colleague who's been asking about a particular layer or analysis or something that we did. And again, all of this is focusing on our communication and collaboration. It's the effort to go ahead and put maps into the arena where these conversations are happening. Now, before we go too far, one of the things I like to take a look at is within an organization, we have a Microsoft 365 subscription. It gives us all sorts of powerful business tools from OneDrive, OneNote, PowerPoint, Excel, SharePoint, Word, all the way across and including Teams. And one of the goals that we're working on here at Esri is how do we go ahead and enhance that Microsoft 365 subscription with an ArcGIS identity? And when we do that, what happens? So for instance, if I'm a Power BI user and I have an ArcGIS identity, it enables me to do more. It enables me to start to collaborate and add private layers into my visuals. Or if I'm an information worker that works in Excel and I'm used to doing conditional formatting and pivot tables, I may take that data now and display it on a map and publish that layer into the GIS, which can then be visualized within SharePoint with list data there. And all of that data can be brought into Insights, which can also work with SharePoint and OneDrive. And we have a lot of different ways of doing analysis, a lot of different ways of generating new layers. But there's different ways that we share and disseminate this information. So one way is through an embedded report using Power BI that can be embedded in a SharePoint site, or I just have a SharePoint site with my map in it. Or the other thing I can do is leverage Teams, where I'm going to go ahead and send direct links to web mapping applications or specific maps, or maybe even ask a colleague to go edit a particular feature layer with me. Now, when we thought about putting this product together, it wasn't just a handful of people at Esri in a dark room that said we just want to build something with Teams because why not? This is something that we are getting a lot of requests for. Ever since the pandemic hit in 2020, everybody transitioned from home, and then there started to become new problems to solve. How can ArcGIS for Teams help facilitate GIS across the organization? What can we do with notifications? How do we look up and find more information? How do we get these maps to people? We spent countless hours talking with and collaborating with our customers that were asking for this feature and this product to be built. So that way we were able to go ahead and build and deliver a min-lovable product. And one of the common things that came up is we just want a way to make it easier for the end users of the GIS department. I've built this map, or I've built this application. Teams isn't for me. It's for the people that want to find the application that I built, find the map that I built, and serve it right to them natively where their conversation's happening. As we're chatting away in Teams, or we are within a meeting inside Teams. So being able to connect our colleagues and coworkers across our organization to our GIS with Teams was very, very critical as we've all started to rely on this on Microsoft Teams as our common way of collaborating now that everybody's been working from home. So the voice of the customer, great ideas, and we started jamming on this, and we came up with a bunch of different design ideas and specs, and this is what helped evolve into the product. So we wanted to make sure that this was available for everybody. So there's a standard offering where no account is needed. Anybody can search and view public content. So within the education space, if a teacher wants to have everybody install Teams and review particular story maps or teach GIS or just learn from the content others have created, they can install that, search, find it, and work with it right there. Or the teacher can find it and send it to the students. Again, no account is required, but they're not able to save content and they won't be able to do some editing within the map. Then with an account, there's an enhanced experience. Like we were talking about with everything within Microsoft 365, we can enhance that experience with an ArcGIS account. This allows me to not only just search public content, but also private content that's stored within my GIS. So whether that be ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Enterprise. And we do respect the sharing model within ArcGIS. So if I'm a user and I don't have access to particular content and I search, it won't show up for me within Teams. But if I'm an administrator and I can see it all, I can search from Teams and I can find it all. But not only can I find that content, I can also start to manage my organization. Maybe I want to promote a member's role, or I want to invite a new user into the organization. I can do that from the administrator's perspective. So, most important thing that we want to do first is think about the design. And we have a tabbed experience where we see a chat experience where you interact with a chat bot that is actually doing the search and returning your search results. We can store files as it relates to what we're working on. There's a viewer, which allows us to go ahead and view all of the content, whether it's maps or applications that are being shared through the GIS. And then from our options tab, I can tell if I'm logged in or not, as well as provide some additional feedback to the team. Now, when I go to use the chat by default, there's a welcome. It's going to ask me to log in and then provide some help tips to get you started. And I guess another key thing to point out here too is we did have support for mobile from day one, because we know that not everybody's sitting at a desktop or a laptop when they're using Teams. A lot of the times we're out in the field, we're on the go. And so if somebody sends me that map and I need to be able to open it up, we'll go ahead and reflow and open up within the mobile environment. Continuing on the experience when I'm interacting with the chat bot, there's some message extensions and conversational commands that I can leverage. So if I want to search all, that's everything, or if I want to search for specific maps, or if I want to search for an app, I can use the app keyword and it will only search applications. So it's a way of doing faceted searching through conversational commands. I can also show personal information about my account or admin level information, like showing the status of my organization, which will return the number of users or credits or people that have logged in recently. The help topic or our help documentation is embedded within the application. So again, everything I need access to is right there within Teams. I don't need to leave the application, go to a browser or another application. I can do it all right here. And then as we look towards the future, one of the things that we look forward to adding is create. So I want to create a map, or I want to create a group that relates to this team or this channel or this group. So these are some functions that we're excited to continue to work on after we get our pre-release available within the Teams store. So right now we're going to go and walk through a simulated demo taking a look at some content from the city of Los Angeles.
The evolution of our digital communication has changed from sending hundreds of emails to countless messages a day. Technology such as IRC and Slack have traditionally been developer tools. And as we know, Microsoft Teams has been widely adopted by schools and the enterprise around the world in an effort to enable a distributed workforce. With the pandemic, the change in how we communicate accelerated beyond our imagination. And today, the CEOs of the largest companies to school children around the globe are relying more and more on Microsoft Teams. Now, our target audience for this are people who want to access maps from their GIS in line where the conversation is happening. With the preview release, we do not target the GIS professional or creator, but the audience that these roles create content for. By installing ArcGIS for Teams, you get maps added to your app bar. In this case, let's go ahead and log in as an employee from the city of Los Angeles. I use content from the GIS to help me make decisions and answer questions every day. Today, I was asked about updates from the DOT on the city's 2021 plans. I didn't know the exact name, but I recall it was a streets app. So I searched for that. I can click to get more information about any of the items returned to make sure that I am opening the correct item. As an employee, I use content from the GIS to help me make decisions and answer questions. Today, I was asked about updates from the DOT on the city's 2021 plans. I didn't know the exact name, but I recall it was a streets app from my organization. So I'm going to switch to search my organization for our streets app. From here, I can click to get more information about the particular items that came back. Now this is the one that I was looking for, which was the strategic plan dashboard for health and safety. Next, I'll open the dashboard and take a look at this content live right here within Teams. When I click to open it, it will open the viewer tab where it loads the specific application, which in this case was the dashboard. Now, the question that I was asked was about how many planned street segments of green network that we have. I can see from my app here, I can click on planned, and I now have 76 street segments that we have in the upcoming 21-23 strategic plan. I can now report this number back and get it into my report that I'm writing up for management. Now, as a map enthusiast, I did notice something on the base map, and it was a little off. I asked the GIS department about it, and they told me that the base map comes from Esri, and it's the World Street base map, and that I can provide my feedback directly to the great people of Esri. Now, using this function, I'm going to go ahead and search for feedback. This returns the different feedback maps from Esri that allow me to directly communicate with the team on any errors that could appear within the map. I zoom to my area of interest. And I happen to know that this particular segment of road is no longer there. So I choose to go ahead and edit. I can add a feature, and I can open an issue. I can describe what this is as a general comment. And if there's any resolution notes or specifically what map I was looking at. I can go ahead and choose add, and then we'll send that off to the team to review. Lastly, to close the loop, my boss asked me where I got the number of segments for the green network that's planned in 2021. In line with our chat, I'm going to go ahead and use a function that's going to allow me to send the map directly to him. So for this, I will go to my chats. I will look up my boss's name, who is asking for this report. And from the bottom, using the extensions, I can go ahead and use the map extension, where I can search for the LADOT strategic plan. Now that I've searched this, I see that all of the different strategic plans for my organization are available. But the particular one that I was looking for, if we recall earlier, was from health and safety. I'll go ahead and click on this, which will go ahead and load the card, and I can send a note. And just like that, I've sent the map directly to my boss so they can go ahead and review my work in searching and finding information from our strategic plan. Now, as we mentioned, that the ArcGIS for Teams allows me to search within my organization, but it also has a function for the public. Now we saw the viewer, which lets me preview content, but I can go to the options, and in this case, I'll go ahead and sign out. So I will be using this as a public user and somebody who is not authenticated into ArcGIS. This allows a user to search all the public ArcGIS Online content all over the world. To start off, we'll do a search for National Geographic. As we can see here, there's thousands of items labeled National Geographic, but specifically, I'm looking for content that I can use in the classroom or share with my students. To narrow this down to only find applications that the students can use, I will go ahead and refine my search. Using the different search facets, I can choose apps and then specify ArcGIS story maps. I will keep my keywords for National Geographic and go ahead and hit search again. This refined search now only returns story map items to me. There's a lot of great content in here, but one of the things I'm looking for in my classroom is specifically to talk and share about how GIS applies to kids. With this story map, we can talk about GIS as an introduction to 4th and 5th graders. As we scroll through, we see all of these great use cases that explain how GIS can be used around the world.
Okay, so what that demo showed us was a pretty great overview of what's available within Teams, being able to search public content, taking a look at internal content, finding information off of dashboards, sending those cards to our boss so they can open it up and they can even see that exact map that I was talking about, and even dipping into some of the shared editing scenarios that are supported with ArcGIS. ArcGIS for Teams makes sharing maps and applications where the conversation is happening much easier, and it makes it possible. When I log in or use my ArcGIS identity in ArcGIS for Teams, it's passed into all of the web applications that open within the viewer. So my identity goes with me, and as I go and interact with the maps or edit things, my organization will know that I made those changes. And it will also ensure that security methods are being taken place, that I am searching and only finding the content that's accessible to me. Now, the preview of ArcGIS for Teams is available within the Teams app catalog today. So thank you very much for attending this session today. I appreciate your feedback, and we're very excited to hear more from you.